Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, XRP Community is threatening a takeover if Ripple executives keep dumping the coin. Anger about the negative market consequences of Ripple selling XRP to its clients is promoting token holders to conceive of ever more ingenious means to fight back. This is a pretty interesting story about cryptocurrency and revolution that we're going to be diving into a little bit later on in today's video. I'm very much looking forward to that. But guys, before we get there, we have to discuss Bitcoin's price action because as we can see, Bitcoin has started to fall over the last 12 hours or so. And guys, this is really starting to look like a head and shoulders pattern. I don't want to spread FUD, but I do want to discuss this and try to get to the bottom of whether or not Bitcoin is about to go back down to a price target somewhere around $10,000. We'll be discussing that a little bit later on in the video. Also, as far as bullish news stories are concerned, Bitcoin's network computing power nears 90 quintillion hashes per second. Guys, this is another big milestone. We're getting close to 100. We're going to dive into this and why this is so important a little bit later on in the video. But anyway, guys, if you did enjoy today's video, make sure to smash that like button. It really helps out the channel when you do that, and I would be very appreciative if you did. If you're new here, also consider subscribing. But without much further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into it. As we know, Bitcoin has been rather bullish here over the last several days. We saw Bitcoin break bullish out of its bear flag down here, and we rallied all the way up to around $10,500. From there, we had another bull flag that Bitcoin broke to the upside out of, and unfortunately, this consolidation that looked like a bull pennant for a little while right here that was looking to break to the upside, in fact, broke to the downside, and we had a little small Bart Simpson pattern right here if we look on the 15-minute chart. As you guys can see, Bitcoin went up, and then Bitcoin went down, and over the last 8 hours or so, Bitcoin has continued that whole down motion thing. This kind of looks like a Bart Simpson, but what this mainly looks like, guys, is the head of a head and shoulders pattern, and that's not exactly a good look for Bitcoin. I want to see how this develops. We're going to look at some technicals here in just a second, but Bitcoin has definitely been trending to the downside here. That's normally not something that you would expect in a bullish breakout. You normally wouldn't want to see this large of a bull flag, if this even is a bull flag, because normally they're a lot smaller and normally the market will break out a lot sooner. So it doesn't really look like that either. One thing I also want to point out is that Bitcoin was in a consolidation pattern last night. I just saw this on the chart. This is chart vision, guys. This is what I'm talking about with chart vision. We had a consolidation pattern right here, as you guys can see, and Bitcoin, in fact, broke bearish out of it about an hour and a half ago, around 8:45 this morning, Eastern Standard Time. So that also is not a good look for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin can turn this little green candlestick that it has right here into something more major, then maybe we're going to have a bounce. But guys, I'm not feeling great on this. We're going to see what happens. I want to look at some technicals, and quite frankly, guys, the technicals are a mixed bag. Right now, we have bearishness on the MACD, and RSI is getting back into oversold territory, which is, in fact, a good thing. If we look at our VPVR, what we're going to find is something very interesting. Bitcoin is actually getting support on the VPVR level right here at $10,400. $10,400 is going to be a relatively important level of support, and if we move this chart just a little bit to get VPVR to do what I want it to do, then we're going to see the VPVR switches the level of support down here to around $10,100. So those are the two price targets, and those are the two levels of support that I'm looking at, a zone between 10,000 and 10,001, and also this spike right here on VPVR at 10. Guys, VPVR is a very powerful technical indicator. There's a video coming to it in CT2A, most likely this month. Do not ignore these levels. It's a mistake. Bitcoin's currently getting support on one of them. We'll see if it can hold it. As far as the other technicals are concerned, guys, I'm not too worried about this. I'm not worried about this like falling all the way over, although that is definitely a possibility. Guys, Bitcoin rallied a very, very long way. If we look at the bottom to top here, Bitcoin rallied 14% in 5 days, and Bitcoin is still in a downtrend, so that's respectable. Bitcoin, if we measure like this, also rallied 11.25% in a day and a half. So Bitcoin, of course, was going to need a little bit of consolidation. It's just a matter of how far this consolidates. Does it consolidate down to 10.4? Does it consolidate down to 10.1? Or do we break through 10,000 again? If we break through 10,000 again, we're probably headed quite a bit lower down to this uptrend of support. But if we can hold 10,000, then I'm perfectly comfortable with this, even if it does form a head and shoulders pattern. If we look at our indicators down here, guys, we're looking at a 4-hourly bearish MACD cross. That's not great, but unlike on the daily chart, a 4-hourly bearish MACD cross is not really the be-all, end-all of whether or not the market's in a rally. It's just something that you frankly don't really want to see. Furthermore, the RSI down here on 4-hourly is starting to correct, which I'm very happy about because RSI was massively overbought. Now it is moving backwards to the downside, and I'm happy to see that. So keep that up, RSI. Keep it going. Anyway, guys, for right now, this isn't anything to be concerned about, but it is definitely something that could develop into a head and shoulders pattern. Like I said, I'm going to keep an eye on this over the next 24 hours before the next video goes live, and if anything crazy happens, we will try to do a live stream tonight. Although I think Bitcoin's going to be fine. I don't think we're out of the uptrend yet. It's just something that we do need to keep an eye on, and we do need to make sure that we're doing our technical analysis, using our stop losses, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for the technical analysis portion of today's video, so let's go ahead and dive on into some news. Bitcoin Bitcoin network computing power nears 90 quintillion hashes per second. Guys, that's a ridiculous number, one that has come a very long way since Bitcoin first got started. As we can see here, guys, Bitcoin has seen yet another sharp increase in its computing power after its network hash rate grew 25% in a week. Guys, if we look at a website called blockchain.com here, they have a chart based on hash rate. And I hate this chart because I can't actually move it over to show you, but on the far right over here, we can see that Bitcoin's hash rate has actually reached all the way up to 90 quintillion hashes a second. We can see it pretty obviously here on this chart on Cointelegraph. The figure passed 80 quintillion hashes for the first time in early August and set new highs on almost daily bases in recent months. If you guys aren't familiar, I'll go ahead and read this to explain. Hash rate refers to the overall computing power involved in processing Bitcoin transactions. The greater the metric, the more power available, and hence the more secure the Bitcoin network is, which is one of the reasons why this is such an important metric, is because to stage a 51% attack, you need 51% of the hash rate. And to get 49 billion hashes a second worth of mining power, you would have to have billions and billions and probably tens of billions of dollars worth of mining equipment. You'd be paying hundreds of millions of dollars in electricity, if not over $1 billion a year in electricity. The further this goes higher, the better it is for the security of the Bitcoin network, because it makes it much harder for entities that we don't want in the cryptocurrency space to be causing harm to the cryptocurrency space. So guys, if you don't already, I would encourage you to keep an eye on hash rate. It's a very important metric, one that is typically quite indicative of the strength of the market, and the stronger the uptrend in the hash rate, typically the stronger the market is, typically the stronger the bull market is. So don't let this be a metric that you ignore. Anyway, guys, moving on to the final news story here for today. XRP Community is threatening a takeover if Ripple executives keep dumping. This is really interesting. We're having an insurrection in the XRP community. Anger about the negative market consequences of Ripple selling XRP to its clients is prompting token holders to conceive of ever more ingenious means to fight back. In a tweet published on August 26th, Twitter user Crypto Bitlord quipped to his 102,000 followers that his latest scheme for a cryptocurrency effort, writing, "I'm thinking about forking XRP so we don't have to deal with the founders dumping. This will be a community effort. Retweet if you're in." Crypto Bitlord's anger spilled over lately because he started a change.org petition entitled Stop Ripple Dumping, which has secured over 2,500 signatures. Brad Garlinghouse, Joe Katz, some of the executives at Ripple, you now have 60 days to stop dumping XRP or we'll stage a community takeover. If it's a decentralized network like you say, we have the power to do it. Guys, this is really funny. Essentially, guys, the reason that they're upset is because Ripple, the company that creates XRP, they create XRP token and then they sell it to fund their investments in the different projects they're working on. And when they do that, the reason that everybody's upset is because that puts selling pressure on the market and it drives XRP price even lower. And quite frankly, guys, if we look at the price of XRP over Bitcoin, you can't really blame them for being upset, can you? I mean, look at this. XRP has been underperforming Bitcoin pretty much forever, except in a couple very specific instances, like when it rallied ridiculously fast and 10x'd in both Bitcoin and US dollar price comparatives back in late 2017 and earlier on in 2017. In general, XRP almost always trends bearish against Bitcoin. That's not something that I would personally want to invest in because I want to get more Bitcoin. And quite frankly, guys, I think that's the position of a whole lot of people. The most recent report by Ripple, published late July, reveals a quarter-to-quarter increase of XRP sales of around 48%. Ripple, however, noted that at the same time it had decided to temporarily pause programmatic sales and put limits on institutional sales, it has also pledged to decrease future token sales substantially. As XRP's value continues to sink, this has done little to calm investors. Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, was today prompted to respond to what he characterized as the FUD surrounding the project, attributing it to questionable sources. He added, XRP sales are helping to build and expand XRP's utility, building RippleNet and supporting other business buildings with XRP, i.e. Dharma and Forte. If you don't know what those are, I encourage you to look into them. They're interesting projects. Reality is we decreased our sales by volume quarter over quarter, and since then the inflation rate of XRP's circulating supply has been lower than that of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Well, that's good and well, but something you have to keep in mind is if the inflation rate of XRP is going down, that means that you guys selling XRP is having an even bigger impact on the market than it otherwise would. You're kind of at a lose-lose situation here. One of the reasons I'm not actually a big fan of XRP, guys, is because there's not actually a cap on the circulating supply. They can release as much of it as they want. I think technically there's a 100 billion cap, but they can keep releasing it until they get to that. Anyway, guys, the community does not seem very happy with XRP at the very moment, but hopefully that will turn around. I don't want everybody being mad at each other, and I certainly wouldn't want to have Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies go through another hard fork like we saw with Bitcoin Cash. The last thing we need is 2 ripples, guys. So try to make good with your man Brad Garlinghouse. It's probably going to do more harm than good to price action of both cryptocurrencies if you do fork XRP, so keep that in the back of your mind. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. I really do want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching. And and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.